Coming up on News 35, Culturescape comes to USF, African Studies students talk about their time in Africa, and we take a look at a new dance class at Corette. All that and more coming up.
Comprehensive news coverage for the University of San Francisco. This is News 35, your campus news and information leader.
Hi, thanks for joining us on our last cablecast of 2008. I'm Ashton Bothman.
And I'm Kate Elston. As the semester draws to a close, students are rushing to finish assignments. Reporter Megan Robb investigates on how they're coping.
Time is running out. With finals week approaching, many USF students are feeling stressed out and sleep deprived. Some are feeling desperate enough to turn to the black market of prescription pills for a dose of stamina. Nicole Pittman says a hefty workload drives her to buy ADD meds.
Shoot, I have to do all this work. Like, okay, if I take an Adderall, it won't be as hard. It'll be easier. I can do it. I can focus, and it'll be better.
The suppliers tend to be students who don't take their prescriptions regularly.
People need them, and if they're willing to give me some money to buy a microwavable dinner, then I will sell them.
Students may be wasting their money.
It's not found in any sort of clinical study to be a performance enhancer. What it does is it keeps you awake. You could die from the abuse of these medications if they're not prescribed and you're not under a doctor's care.
Pittman says it's a risk she's willing to take.
I think that I'm young and I do a lot of things that are unhealthy for me. And I think it's just sort of that invincible aspect of being young and not caring.
Sarah Glatt actually suffers from ADD and doesn't let anyone else pocket her pills.
And I use it for real purposes, not just because I'm oh crap, I need to get all this work done.
Some ADD meds go for up to $20 a pill during finals. Add in the cost of potential health risks, and it's a high price just to stay awake. I'm Megan Robb, News 35.
In late November, the International Student Association sponsored International Week. Reporters Lee Quinn and Elle Robinson were at the capstone event.
9 cultural clubs and organizations performed, including the Hindi Film Dance Team, the Chinese Students and Scholars Association, and Kasamahan.
And when you come to Culturescape, you see, everyone expressing themselves, and it's kind of like taking you to that country without you having to buy a plane ticket. Right.
And it's something so nice, you get people from around the culture, you get experience all sorts of different things, you get the show, you get the food, you get the wonderful music, and it's an awesome event.
Following the performances, students were able to taste a variety of global foods and be reminded of USF's international community.
It doesn't matter what nationality you are, you can always appreciate other people's cultures, and also anyone can dance.
To be aware that there are other cultures besides yours, and we are living in a very globalized world, so I think USF has the advantage to have a big international community here.
I think they were all great. All of them touched me in a different way, even the slow ones and then the ones that were more action-packed. But I think the last one really got the audience going, the taekwondo, because they were breaking bricks and doing all these cool moves.
Well, there's a lot to learn. There's all sorts of people. The world is flat now. You really have to interact with other people. There's so many cultures, so many beautiful things to experience out there.
I'm Elle Robinson for News 35.
The African Studies minor is only a couple years old, but is gaining recognition and popularity. Here's Kate Elston with more.
Dozens of USF students went abroad last year, but only a handful chose Africa as their destination. Not only did these students spend time on the forgotten continent last year, but they all conducted their own research and discussed these results in front of their peers last month.
The limits of lending and evaluation of microfinance to reach its intended demographics in northern Ghana. Looking at microfinance as a tool for empowerment, and how empowerment is related to poverty and powerlessness is related to poverty.
My research was called "The Newspapers Are Free, the Journalists Are Not," and it's perceptions of press freedom in Cameroon. When you look at it on the ground, journalists are in prison, journalists are bribed, and at the end of the day, there's just all these conditions that contribute to the fact that journalists absolutely do not have the freedom to go against the government or to talk about what's really happening in their country.
Max Lucy studied conservation efforts in Uganda. Alexander Kotchev researched spiritual healers in Ghana. And Angela Lucia spent time in England researching marginalized groups in Darfur. Professor Heather Hogue says a chance to go abroad is invaluable to students with an African Studies minor.
So really to allow them to explore their own interest and in the meantime becoming more engaged and connected to Africa. You really can only understand so much from the classroom, but you really can't fully understand until you're there.
Besides the logistics of studying in a foreign country, all students said the research was surprisingly easy.
It was easy to be a white face and to walk in there and to say, talk to me. I was getting government ministers, I was getting incredibly important people that the average Cameroonian never ever sees. And I really had to make the choice at a certain point to cry about that every night and to say, oh God, what am I doing? I have this awkward elitist position, or to say, well, how can I use this? How can I turn this back to actually help people with this research that I'm doing?
At the presentation, the students shared their research results and their personal thoughts about their experiences.
I don't know, I really had a lesson in like, okay, I need to adjust a bit. I need to change the way I think about things. I need to change the way I would act in this situation. And I don't know, I just like that adjustment period. Like knowing that, okay, it's okay to be outside of your comfort zone.
From it now, and I do at the end of the day feel like I did something valuable.
So you're proud of it?
And I am proud of it, and that's a pretty amazing thing. Not everyone is studying this, not everyone really knows what's happening, and you feel like you've carved out a niche in the world.
I'm Kate Elston with News 35.